What's up, everybody, and welcome back. It's been almost a month since I've done my last video where I compared the Art Morrison subframe against the Detroit Speed. And here's why it's been so long. Because if you can tell, I moved shops again. I had to move shops. One, I needed more space, and two, things just weren't working out. It's very hard that I've found to go into another work center or a workspace with another business and try and make things work out. Things were going good. Some things happened. Don't want to get into it. But ultimately I ended up moving, and I am much happier now. I'm sleeping through the night again. I'm getting more motivated again and ready to start building some cool cars. So, we're going to do a quick walkthrough of my new space, new shop, and enjoy the journey. So, I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm really close to the Naval Air Base now. It's literally right across the street. But this is a 3,000 square foot shop, 50 feet wide, 60 feet deep. I got 3-phase power for my press brake. Fully insulated, gas heat, but the heat stays up top. So I ended up buying a diesel heater for down low. It works better. So let's do a quick walkthrough. Over here, I got a bathroom with a shower and hot water. Pretty nice. Shower. There we are. Woo! But yeah. So now I don't have to smell other people that get done doing their business and leave the door open right into my workspace and blast me in the face with their stench. Now it's my own stench. I close the door and leave the fan on like a normal human being. Over here, I have my mill, my lathe. Neither one of those have been leveled or trued in yet since I moved them, but I haven't had time. It's been 2 weeks of moving stuff around, organizing, and trying to get stuff done so I can get back to work. I started working again last week and got about, 12 hours worth of work done, if that. But now, almost done, ready to go, start working again. Then I got my 4-post lift. Moving this was a chore. We did not take it apart. We put wood blocks and C-clamps and held the ramps down. I lifted it up with my forklift. Yep, I went and bought a forklift. We'll get to that. Lifted it up, and then I bought some 4x6x10s. Set it down. Set the lift down on to the 4x6x10s. Bolted it down. Set it on a trailer and drove it across town. Worked out great. So now I didn't have to take it all apart, put it all back together, and now I got it in the shop, plugged it in, it worked. Over against this wall, I got all my tooling and equipment, cherry picker, engine stands, oil drain, car parts, bandsaw, Ameribraid, rotisserie, my vacuum suck, downdraft table, my sandblast cabinet, and then my Camaro. Now, I want to show you something real quick. The only reason I'm keeping this hood, this is an original 57 Chevy Bel Air hood that was sandblasted. That was sandblasted, and that's what happened. Warped the shit out of it, stretched it. Not good. I can go in and fix that, but it was going to take way more time to fix that and repair it than it was to buy a new hood. I had an aftermarket hood. Because of that, aftermarket didn't fit, So then I went and found a used original hood for 50 bucks that was rusted out, repaired the rust, and then we used that on the car. But another thing, the only reason I'm keeping this hood is to show, like, one, what sandblasting does, and two, what sandblasting can't get to. So I had to cut a patch out of this hood to put in the other hood that was rusted out, and look at all that rust. The sandblasting can only get to what it sees. If this hood would have been acid dipped, all that warpage wouldn't be there, and all that rust would be gone. Yeah, it's bare metal at that point, but it's going to last a lot longer than if it was left like that. When I cut that patch out, it was already eating at the backside. I had to treat the backside of that panel, that patch, before I welded it into the new hood. Eventually, that would have ate through. If you get rid of it and neutralize it, then it's going to last a lot longer. That's 57 Chevy. It hadn't been rusted through yet. How many years is that? I don't know. I'm not that good at math, but you know, 26 plus 57, it's probably close to 60 years, give or take. So, yeah. Moving on. So, I'm still organizing, moving stuff around. Not sure how everything's going to be. It'll probably move a couple more times. I just moved this toolbox here this morning to see if I like it, because I'm going to put a lot of my welding table fixtures in there, because my weld table's right there instead of all the way over there. Less walking, more fixtures. Less walking, more workflow, more efficient. Then I have my toolbox, my main toolbox, all my tools. A lot of tools in this toolbox also. And then I have a table back here with, this is Japans Customs profiling machine. Got that up and built. Have not used it yet. I built this right before I moved. Haven't had time to use it. Just a workbench back here behind the toolbox. Over here is my metal shaping station. Bead roller, planishing hammer, JRM, Jason Miller, air compressor, shrinker stretchers, the big boy power hammer that I just got, my Lazy bead roller, air dryer, plasma table computer, and my plasma table, my English wheel, my Beverly shear, and then my press brake. So I was able, since I bought the forklift, I made sure I bought one big enough that I could move my press brake. So I was able to get this out of my garage from my house, bring it in here. It's leveled out, bolted down, and it's got 3-phase power coming to it. So it's super quiet now. Doesn't have the phase converter, and works great. Love that machine. Then here is the Camaro. It was over in the other shop that I put the Detroit Speed front end on. And now I'm doing the firewall. When I put the front end on, mounted the motor, this front end moved the motor back. You can see the cross member and the motor mounts are behind the cross member. As normal, they're on. So it was hitting the firewall. Motor couldn't even go in. So I had to cut the firewall out. Now I'm making a new one that is shaped. That is the profile of the motor, and that's sunk in 1 inch. So that's been a long ongoing process, but it's getting there. This car, the plan with this car is it is a 78 Camaro. This is a customer's car. It is getting a 70 front end and a 70 back end. So there's going to be a lot of work going into this car. It's going to be a pretty cool project. Not something that people normally do. So it should be fun. Should be different. Should be interesting. Should learn a lot. So, but yeah, that's that project. And then I got my parts bins, a bunch of parts, 57 Chevy parts, Camaro parts, tools, like I said, I'm still organizing and rearranging. This is just a big old mess right now, and it's giving me anxiety, so I've got to get it taken care of soon. And then this is my most recent purchase. Like I said, I had to buy a forklift. I need to get out of the other shop, and I need to do it in a hurry. So I went and bought a forklift, and I made sure that I bought one that has enough lifting capacity to lift my press brake. No point in me buying a forklift that couldn't lift my press brake. Just have to go rent a forklift to move my press brake. Made no sense. So spent a little extra money, bought a big one. Totally worth it. My wife's like, how often are you going to use it? I use that thing all the time now. Like, I didn't think I would use it that much either, but I use it almost daily. I used it to lift this earlier and bring that off of the 4-post because my legs, the middle legs, catch on the 4-post as it's coming down. So that being said, that's another note that I've learned. Building my chassis table, if you've watched that video, I put in these little bottle jacks, and they work for moving it around, but they don't get it tall enough to put it up onto the 4-post lift. So I had that bottle jack that came with my little press. I don't know if I'm going to use that one or if I'm going to go buy some smaller ones in between those two sizes. But a bigger jack will give me more lift and will give me the lift that I need to just wheel that chassis table up onto the 4-post lift. So yeah. And then the middle of the table, or middle of the shop, my weld table, my welder, and that is the center console for the 57 Chevy that I built. It's going to get some work done today as soon as I get done with this video. But yeah. So that's it. That's why there hasn't been a video in a while, because I have been moving shops, rearranging, reorganizing, and leaving a difficult situation and getting into a better situation for myself. I am mentally happier, and in just the short amount of time that I've been over here by myself, and ready to get back to work. So that being said, that's going to be it for this one. Just a quick, short walkthrough video of why I haven't had a video in a long time and my new location. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, notifications button, and stay tuned. I promise I will be getting on my 69 Camaro soon. I will be getting on that soon. I got the Art Morrison subframe assembly. I got the body mounts. So I'll be mounting that subframe, mounting the rear subframe, the subframe connectors, getting all that put in place, welded together, and then I'm going to start cutting that floor out, stripping that car down, and getting that ready to build. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I'm going to end it. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.